Imagine being an NBA legend but missing one thing from your resume, a championship. Welcome back to Triple Double, it's your boy Will, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the greatest NBA players who have never won a ring. Real quick, do me a favor by dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. Now let's get into it. Now we all know Charles Barkley as a vibrant personality in the NBA world. The NBA on TNT has been a huge success, and it has former NBA stars like Shaq, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley all being top-tier entertainers while breaking down NBA games. I actually always look forward to NBA games on TNT because I know the halftime show is going to be straight up comedy. Barkley is just so outspoken, he's always good for debates. But before he became a legend on TV, he was a legend on the NBA court. He played with the Phoenix Suns back in the 1990s and played during the Jordan era, a really tough era, obviously. As a matter of fact, him and Michael Jordan were really good friends. There's that old saying that you become who you hang around, but that wasn't the case for Barkley, because Jordan won 6 rings while Barkley couldn't even win 1. And the thing is too, he had a chance to win one when the Suns played the Bulls in the finals. But friends become foes when it comes to competition, and like Jordan said, he takes everything personal. Barkley was still a really good player and actually won an MVP in the 90s. He was an undersized power forward, but he still became one of the greatest players ever. He could just never get that ring. And Shaq always makes sure to remind him of that when they're on TV together.
That was after I had 4 rings. Dwayne, I didn't have Dwayne Wade and Kobe Bryant. Everybody knows you were a great player.
You see that?
Everybody knows you were a great.
Charles Barkley wasn't the only Phoenix Suns legend that never won a ring. A superstar in the desert that followed him up was Steve Nash. Steve Nash is actually one of my favorite point guards ever. He's just pure skill. He's not a super athlete, but his IQ and skill is what made him so great. And it actually makes sense that he's coaching for the Brooklyn Nets now. He's probably also coaching the team because that's his best bet at winning a ring. That Nets roster is stacked with Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and everyone else. But as an NBA player, Nash was still really good. He was a 2-time MVP during his time at Phoenix. And those MVPs are really controversial because you could argue that Kobe got snubbed one of those years. But Kobe does have 5 more rings to Nash's 0, so I'm sure it never really bothered him in the long run. It's just too bad that Nash could never win a ring there because he had stacked teams with Amar'e Stoudemire and Shawn Marion. And even coach Mike D'Antoni had a good system in place. This 7-second offense, that was new to the game, but it fit Nash's game perfectly. It just never led to him winning a ring. Now our next NBA star that never won a ring was actually a player under Coach Nash. I'm talking about James Harden. Yeah, James Harden has never won a ring, but there's still hope for him. His best shot was actually in 2012 when he was with the OKC Thunder trio, where it was him, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant. But that team lost to LeBron and the Miami Heat. And the team split right after. But still, Harden had a lot of shots to go deep in the playoffs during his time with the Houston Rockets. As a matter of fact, 2018 was a really good chance for him, when he and Chris Paul teamed up in Houston and almost beat the Warriors. But unfortunately, CP3 got injured and that cost him the series. But if he wasn't injured, there was a high chance they would move on to the finals. Since then, Harden has bounced around a couple teams and is now with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, do I think he could win a ring with that team? I really don't know. It's honestly up in the air. Him and Joel Embiid are a great duo, but the East is really stacked. Another player that still has a chance to win a ring is Russell Westbrook, but it's not looking too hot for him. Westbrook is a Hall of Famer with no doubt. He's made NBA history, breaking the triple-double record, all that, but just no ring. I really wish he could have won a chip with the Thunder. I really hope that Kevin Durant never left, but those days are just far behind us. A lot of us thought he could have won it this year with the Lakers. Everyone hyped up this Lakers team, but the season was a nightmare for him and the team. But especially for him. It's looking like a miracle has to happen if he ever wants to win a ring, but I'm rooting for Russ. It would suck to see him go out with no championship, considering that he's really given his all to the game. He just has to tone down the breaking shots part, but once he fixes that, maybe he could win a ring. Of course we all love Russell Westbrook, but nobody has more love from fans than Allen Iverson. The basketball icon could never win a ring, no matter how hard he tried, and he's tried really hard. He had to carry the garbage 76ers to the finals in 2001. That team was horrible. His best teammate was an old Dikembe Mutombo. Yeah, you already know he had no chance. And to make matters worse, they played a stacked Lakers team with Kobe and Shaq, who went on to three-peat, so everyone knew that he had no shot. But on the bright side, AI did carry his team to 1 NBA Finals win. And I mean carried. He had 48 points and beat the Lakers in overtime. He beat the team, not anyone else, it was just him. But for the crossover, he just never had enough pieces around him to win a ring, which is just tragic. And to make matters worse, he went broke afterwards. But he's doing good now though. One player that did have a lot of pieces to win a ring during his career is Chris Paul. It's something about these Phoenix Suns players that just can't win championships. Chris Paul has had some very bad luck in his career. The worst instance was when the NBA vetoed his trade to the Lakers where he could team up with Kobe. That's probably my biggest NBA what if ever. That trade could have changed the NBA completely for decades to come. Kobe could have won a couple more championships, Chris Paul could have won his first, which means Dwight probably never would have went to LA. A lot of different variables, a lot of things could have changed, and I really wish David Stern never vetoed that trade. And I'm sure Chris Paul feels the same way. But Chris Paul did end up in LA just with the wrong team, the Clippers. He had real chances to win a ring. He formed Lob City with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. That was fun to watch. They even had really good role players like JJ Redick and Jamal Crawford. That team brings back really good memories, but unfortunately they just kept folding in the playoffs. They were supposed to be the team out of the West, but they allowed the Golden State Warriors to be the team to come out of the West, and we know what happens from there. Golden State just takes over the next 5 years. Even when Chris Paul left LA and went to Houston, he had a chance, but like I said earlier, injuries just costed him. Pretty unlucky. But last season, for the first time in his career, he made it to the finals with the Phoenix Suns, and he still couldn't pull it off, losing to Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. It's like the basketball gods just don't want to see him win. But hey, maybe this season he can get his first ring. But the playoffs is a different ballgame. Now, Lob City was a great trio, but there was really no better duo than Karl Malone and John Stockton. It was like peanut butter and jelly. Their years with the Jazz were iconic, but they had nothing to show for it. Basically, John Stockton retired with the most assists and steals ever, and Karl Malone finished top 3 in scoring all time. All those numbers, but no ring. Probably the biggest letdown for a franchise ever. And the worst part is, if Jordan didn't come out of retirement, they could have easily won multiple rings. But Jordan is just too competitive and had to win 3 more. And Karl Malone wasn't the greatest person in the world, we don't need to get into that. But on the court, he was an MVP and a force to be reckoned with. And John Stockton was the opposite. He was a little white guy that always found a way to make a play. But everyone will always remember them as the duo that could never get the job done. And on that note, that wraps up today's video on the best NBA players who never won a championship. Comment down below who your favorite player from this list is, and remember to drop a like and subscribe to Triple Double for more videos.